Welcome, Charlie. Thank you so much for coming. I'm really interested in the company Greenbits and what you do within that company.
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Charlie Wilson. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer of Greenbits. We provide retail software and compliance management for cannabis dispensaries or cannabis retailers.
And what do you see is coming as far as the cannabis marijuana industry goes? I mean, it's pretty remarkable that finally it's legal here in California and many other states. What do you think? How is it going to look?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you're seeing in California, you're seeing some of the other states around the nation, is a tidal wave that's not going to stop. You've got kind of overwhelming support for the legalization of cannabis, irrespective of political affiliation, whatever the case may be. So there's 29 states that have legalized to date. We think that trend is going to continue. California is obviously on the leading edge of that, among others, and we think this is going to become more and more normal, more and more legitimized over time.
And how will that affect Greenbits? Are you just based in California or are you looking to move to other states?
Yeah, no, ironically, we're based in California, but we actually only started to sell in the state of California within the last 6 months. We serve about 1,000 dispensaries around the United States across 11 states. We're most concentrated in the states of Washington, Oregon, and Colorado. And California is now our fourth largest state.
So I think Colorado was a little bit ahead of California there anyway, wasn't it? Is that correct?
Yeah, it depends on how you look at it. California has been a 20-year-old medicinal market in a
Right.
largely kind of and underregulated fashion. Colorado really led the way with the recreational or adult use initiative, kind of implementing and bringing to bear a much more regulated market. And you've seen other states follow suit, and California is now going through that same transition themselves.
Well, it certainly looks like a bright future, and I know marijuana has been used for centuries for healing by shamans in ethnic tribes. So why shouldn't it be available to us Westerners with our mad lives that we lead?
I certainly agree. I mean, the empirical evidence is building with the legalization that's occurred at the state level, and you're seeing a lot of benefit. You're seeing little to no downside, job creation, tax revenue, services for others. There's a criminal justice angle. Obviously, the again untested or scientifically proven, but the empirical kind of medical benefits for PTSD and anxiety.
Yes.
A lot of veterans. So it's really hard to kind of make a case against marijuana at this point, as the data is finally starting to show itself and show the merit.
I know this shows my age many years ago. When I was a teenager, it was all the rage, obviously. But I did see a documentary in Australia many years ago before I left on the clinics in San Francisco where the Haight-Ashbury.
Yep.
And they were saying that because they'd never done any testing, that there was a lot of the old hippies who had been doing smoking dope for so many years that had brain damage. And I never heard anything more after that. I don't watch television anymore, so I'm not updated. Have you heard anything about that?
No, absolutely not. I can't speak to that specific case,
Yeah.
but obviously in a black market environment, you have less control over what you're going to receive. When you implement a regulated market at the state or even potentially at the federal level, you implement a bunch of controls. You implement protective measures to ensure the quality of the product, the consistency of the product is there. So. I can't speak to any anecdotes like the one that you suggest, and we think the regulatory framework is going to help ensure that doesn't happen.
It may be an aberration, and certainly in those days, the old hippies, everyone was doing too much of it. Instead of using it as a healing thing, they were actually just doing it all the time. And I think that anything you do too much, alcohol the same, destroys brain cells. So hopefully that's what it was about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's an intoxicant at the end of the day, but if you look at the empirical evidence, unlike other drugs, it's impossible to overdose on the product. You can certainly misuse, but you compare it to alcohol, and cannabis will win the day every day.
Yes, yes. We see the results of the alcohol in the homeless, and I think that's very sad. And so, yeah. Well, look, I'm so looking forward to this. I'm so excited by the possibilities of marijuana cannabis industry, and I love to see and hear what everyone thinks about where we're all going with it.
Absolutely looking forward to it, and glad to have us.
Thank you.
Thank you.